Welcome back, guys. This is Shrikant. This is our fifth live session regarding SQL Server basic training. Today in this session we are going to talk about schema. What is schema and what are different type of schema we have. Then we'll try to see how to create schema and what is it exactly and why it is required to know and why it is important to understand. Right. Let's talk about schema. First of all, we'll talk about definition. So schema is a collection of a database object including tables, views, triggers, store procedure, indexes, right? So basically it's a collection of different object. We have a different object in a SQL Server like table, then we have procedure, functions, views, lot of things, right? So you may have a question, can we create a same table with a can we create a same table with the same name in a multiple time in a database? For example, if I say I want to create a table with a name table1, would I have more than one table name for a single you can say, for example, what I'm trying to say, let's say I have created table1. So this table1, can I create it to one three time in a database? Or if yes, then how can I access it? So basically you can create a multiple object with the same name in a database, but there is a difference. There is a change. Basically there is a thing what we need to know is a schema. Schema is basically a collection of a object, and those objects include like table, procedure, functions, view, and lot of things. So you can create a same table with a one schema, then another table with the same name with another schema. Likewise you can create a multiple schema and you can assign the object to it, right? So first of all, let's try to understand the concept called as a full server full name identifier or qualifier. So for example, if you want to access a specific table in a database, you can access it through four entity, and let's try to understand which are those entity. First of all, you should know the server name. If you want to access another server, then there is a dot, then you need to pass the database name. Then important thing is the schema here, then the object name. So these are the four things we should know when we access a table from a different server, or if you want to access a table from the different database to the another database. Let's say you have one database table, database 1, and you have another database 2. You want to access both these databases, or you want to migrate some table from one database to another database. So how you can do that? For accessing that thing, you need to go with this full name identifier, right? Great. Let's try to understand how to write it. So if I'm creating a table, let's say create table1, create table1 id int. If I'm creating this table with this one, how I can access? First of all, I think we should go to another database. Let's create one on the fly database. We are creating a database name as a create database demo. So I'm creating a database called as the demo, provided that database should not be present on your server, and this database is not present on my server, so I'm creating it. You will see the message once it is completed. Now I'm seeing the database has been successfully created. Now let's create the database. Oh, sorry. Now let's create table in it. We are going to create a table here. Now if I want to access this table one, from the database demo, how I can do that, or how I can access it. So first of all, you need to specify the server name. As both as my table is on the same server, so I don't need to pass it. But if you want to pass, then what you need to do, you need to take a server name. Shrikant is my server name. So what I will do here, I will type my server name here. Then I need to pass here DB name. My DB name is demo. Then I need to pass what? I need to pass next thing as the schema. My schema is DPO. DPO is a default schema for database. Then object name. Object name is table1. So if I simply want to access the table1, I can simply write the statement like this and access the table. So just select this query and run it. You will see we can access the database, and you will see as output as only one column, which is a ID column, because this table only have one single column, but it doesn't have any data, so we won't see any data. Let's insert some data first of all. Insert into table1. Select one. Select. Now we are going to add two record in a table. All right. Now let's run the query. And now we can see here there are two records we have just added in a table. So if you observe here carefully, for accessing the table, we are simply running a query with a select star from table 1. This query doesn't have the server name, the database name, then schema name. It doesn't have. So this is the simplest way we can access, because you are running in a same DB and with the default schema. But assume you are in another DB. For example, I'm creating their database called as next DB. I'm creating here next DB called as create another DB as a create database DB demo. This is my another database which I created, and this is a blank database which I just created, and it doesn't have the table. Which is my table? Table 1. Right. So first of all, go to this DB demo 2. How will you do that? Just use demo 2. Now we'll be in a demo 2 database. Now if I come here and if I'll write this query like this, select star from table, select star from the table name. This table 1 I have not created in a demo 2 database, so I will definitely get an error. So what error I will get? I will get an error that invalid object name table 1, because this database doesn't have this table, but this table is present in another DB. Now I am in demo 2 database. I want to access a table from demo database. So how I can do that? You just simply need to write like this. If you'll pass here the DB name, what is my DB name demo, then you need to pass here the schema name. Schema name is DBO, then dot, then you need to pass here the table name. My table name is table 1, and if I select this query and if I run this query, what will I see? I will see this demo dot table 1 is not present in this DB. So let's find out what is wrong here. Let's try to understand what's wrong now. Because we created this table in which database we created this in a master. Okay? Because we created database, but we didn't go to the Java. So just go to the use demo. Just go here. So we are here. Then create this DB in demo 1. This is created. Now come here and see the query once again, and let's run it again. So I just created table in the database which is named as demo. So for accessing the table from another database, I need to go there. So now I'm doing what? I'm adding some data in this DB for this table. We have just ran the query and we have seen that there is no data. Now let's again come back here and let's run the query. We'll see here there are two records automatically. Let's try to understand. We have not copied any table from one database to another database. We are only accessing the data from one database to another database, right? So this table 1 is present where? This table 1 is present in the demo database, and I'm going to access into the demo 2 database. Why it is required? First of all, sometime when we do a migration, or where sometime one table get corrupted and we restore the backup, and from that backup we pull the data and we do some calculation, and we recreate the corrupted data, we correct it. So what this is we need it. Okay, what I'm trying to show you now, let's assume we are on a one server. For example, this is Shrikant is my one server, and there is a one more server, Shrikant 2, which is another server basically like this server, and I want to access the table from one server to another server. So in that case you need to specify the server name and you need to access query. So this type of query is called as the remote query, you can say. And one more thing, these two servers should be linked with each other. So we have a concept called as a link server. We'll talk about that in coming session. But right now just try to understand, if you want to access the table, you need to access like this. So this is a standard way we can access. So could not find a Shrikant in a sys server. So basically the server should be there, as it is not linked, so we are not getting it. But the syntax is like that. You need to specify the server name. I will show you in coming session. We need to add some entry into this server. So in that case we'll get it. Let's try to see what data we have in sys server, so you guys can understand it. Select star from sys dot servers. If you got an error, don't worry. Let's try to find out why we are getting it. Now we are seeing this is my server name. If we will come here, so and you will find here this is basically my server name. Now here I'm seeing the short name actually, but for this server in the system you can see here the server name is this one. So let's try with this. Let's say what happened when I type and when I run this query. I will see here the query has not error out now, but I'm now able to access the data from the demo database, and now I'm in a demo 2. In the demo 2 I'm able to access the demo and DBO and from table 1. So basically you need to change the name for if I want to Shrikant, if I want to access the Shrikant, then I need to add some intro, or I need to change the server name, then it will make sense, right? So this is my server name as a system name, this is my DB name, this is my schema name, and this is schema. So what I was trying to say, I'm trying to say is that one schema is linked with the multiple object. So with the same name you can create a multiple object in a system, but the schema should be different. If I want to create another table 1 in this DB, the demo database, let's try and let's run this query again. What will we see? We will get an error, and the error will say us this table is already exist, right? And let's understand which schema does this table has been created. So just select it and alter F1. When we do alter F1 for this table, we'll see all the metadata related with this table, and we'll found it here that this is the table name. The table name is table 1, and the owner for this is the DBO, right? Then all this. So DBO is the owner and the schema name also. From 2005 owners, the owner is the schema name. Okay, great. Now I'm going to show you to create the schema. So the best and simplest thing I will show you from the GUI itself. Now let's go to our database. Our database is demo. We'll go to the demo database here, and then then there is a thing called as the schema. In security, you'll see here schema. Go to the schema. You'll find here one tab called as a schema, and if you'll expand it, you will see all the default schema. So right now we have a default schema like DBO, guest, owner. These are all the default schema. So now we want to create one more. Let's try to understand what is there in a schema first of all. Just right click on it, then one pop-up window will come here. In the pop-up window, we'll go to the properties. Click on the properties, and in the properties section we will see all the relevant information related to the schema. So you will see here the name for the schema is DBO, and the owner for this is DBO. Let's try to general, then let's try to understand permission. So for this is which permission we can grant permission. Okay, view database permission, click on it. Permission pop-up will open, and there will see all the permission related stuff. This is opening, so don't worry about it. Now we'll see here, this is server name is Shrikant. Okay, files is okay, that is different. Great. Then extended properties we have. Great, demo database. Okay, now go back here, general. There is a tab called as a script, right? Script action to file. Okay, fine, leave it. So we'll come back here, and we'll come here, and we'll do again right click on this, and we'll select the new schema. Here we will pass the schema name. My schema name is schema, my schema 2, schema test. This is my new schema. Schema owner I'm giving SA. Okay, so I'm going to create another schema test. Let's see. Now you will see here one more schema has been added to our schema. You might have a doubt that why it is showing me in a database level, why it is not going to show me in a table thing. It will be and they basically in a server level entities. That's why it's showing in a security, and it is a server level thing. Great. Now let's create this table with this schema. So you simply need to type here and select it. So you will see here we have just created a schema with a schema test, and table what we'll see here is a table 1. Now come back here and then let's run the query and let's see what happened. The moment we'll run the query, we'll get an output, but we know this table 1 has been created, but the new table doesn't have the data, but old table has the data. So just come here and run it. So you will see the owner for this DBO. Now I want to see the schema. So what you need to do, you need to go to the DB table, select star from sys dot objects where this first run it and let's understand what is there. So moment you'll run it, you'll see the sys name object name. So what we are going to do, we are trying to find out the table name here. So what will we do, we will type here where object name is id equal to the table 1. Let's select this and let's run this. We want to see how many entries are there with a name called as a table 1. Let's run it. So if you got error, so don't worry about the error. It says that something you had done mistake. So mistake is the object ID. The column name we have specified is wrong. Let's correct it and run it. So again it is wrong. It should not be wrong actually. Why it is wrong? Because we have replaced at the top level, but we forgot to replace in a query string. Now let's run it and let's see does it have any error or not. So when we run the query, we'll see there are 2 entries in the table, and the name for this is table 1, object is this one, schema ID here. Okay, let's come back again and let's do one thing here. Let's type here a, then do a inner join, and we have a schema sys.schema. Okay, so once again if I run this query here and we'll see here there are 2 entries. Come back again, let's find out the sys table for the schema. Okay. Mm, so we need to find okay. So what will we do here, we'll go back to tables. So these are our system tables. Okay, in this way I'll show you something more interesting. Then go to the system database, master, views, system views. Here we have all the objects and all the information. Go to the S. Sys.schema, right? We got it. Finally. So run it, and we. So I think you guys now understood where to find the sys schema, right? So that's good actually. If we got error, then we can easily find out where it is. That's good thing. Now let's again run this query and see what does we get. We are seeing here two entities with a schema difference, 1 and the 5. So let's run this query. Now I think we can do one more thing here. We can just copy this and do an inner join here. Be on a dot schema id is equal to b dot schema id. Let's select the full query and run it. We have again done the same thing. Just select the full query and see the errors. I always believe we should always get errors, but luckily we didn't get it. Now we'll see the relevant information with a schema. So if you go to the right, you will see there is a schema called as the DBO and the schema test. So schema ID 1 points to like this. Okay, what does it means? That if someone asks you, can we create a table with the same name? Can we create the same table with multiple times? Yes, you can create a same table multiple times, but there should be a difference of a schema. So if there is a schema difference, yes, you can create. So you may have a question, how many does there any restriction that we can have only this much schemas? No, you don't have. You can create a single table with a single schema, but you don't have the restriction of creating number of schema. You can create number of schema as you want. So my intention for this stream was to know you that how you can access the table from one db to another db, right? So for that we need to pass the server name, then we need to pass the database name, then the schema and the object. So this is the table. You can also access the view, right? Great. Now the next thing I want to start with. So what we thought actually, yeah, we are trying to understand how we can access a table from one db to another db. This is a way. Great. Likewise, if you have a link server linked with your system, you can definitely access the table from one server to another server, and that type of query is called as the remote query, just for the interview purpose. Because I remember when I attended one of the interviews and they asked me what is a remote query. So remote query is a kind of query, it's like a normal query, but there is a difference that normal query we access into in a same database or a same server you can say. And if you want to access query from another server, then that type of query is called as the remote query. Great. Next, there are a few basic things in this video I'm going to talk actually. So the first thing is I'm going to talk about some keywords. the difference, and I want to tell you the understanding in clear. So there are there are two keywords like union and union all. A lot of people have doubt regarding the union and union all. So just want to tell one thing. There is nothing that you can't understand. The simple thing is, if you use union, it will give you distinct. If you use union, then it will give you distinct. And if you don't use union, and if you use with all, so it will remove the distinct. It means that if you have a requirement there, you want to get all the record without worrying about the duplicate, right? Then in that case you need to go with a union all. And if you have a requirement that you just simply want to get and a distinct number, then you need to go with a union, and where you can use it. So these are basically the type of you can say set set keywords. Basically, let's try to understand. Let's say we have just created a table called as the table, but which is in another database. So we'll go to that database, use demo. Now let's say now I have the data in the table called as a table 1. I am taking this table as my reference, then I am typing the first word as union and then running this query. Now the moment I will select and I will run this query, I will get 2 or 1 record, 2 record. Right. Now what I'm going to do, okay, now if I run this query in a single way, I can see here there are 2 record. So it means that I should get a 4 record, but I'm getting only a single 2 record. Now let's replace this union with all. Let's replace with this union all. Select these 2 queries and run it. Now how many rows I will see? I will see 4 rows. So my requirement is to simply get all the rows without removing the duplicate. Then I will go for union all, and if I want only a non-duplicate records, means distinct, you can say, so you can simply go with a union. So hope you guys have clear understanding related with the union and union all, the understanding. Now let's talk about the distinct keyword here. Let's say we are having now this union all. So I am getting the output. How many rows? 4 column, because I need all the rows with respect to duplicate or not. Great. Now let's understand. Let's write 2 simple query. One, select 1 and select 1. We can run it. Great. So let's do one thing here. Let's insert one single record in the query. So where is my code? Okay, I'm inserting one more record with a 1 value into the table. Run it and let's see the output. Yeah, successfully loaded. Then come back here. Now if you select this query, and you will see here interesting thing, and that thing is it has 3 record because we added 3. So now I need only ID column. This ID column has a 3 values. ID. Now we'll see here 3 record. So what will we do? We'll apply the distinct keyword here and we'll run the query. The moment we'll see here distinct, we'll see here only 2 records. Why? As just now I ran the query and I was seeing the 3 different values. I mean to say 3 values. but when I run the same query with a distinct clause, I'm getting only a 2 rows. Why? Because I'm using a keyword called as distinct. So in a one table, if you want to have only master entries, only a distinct number, then go for the distinct. Otherwise, don't go with the distinct, because it means that you need all the record. Great. Now I'm going to show you one more interesting thing here. Sometimes we create a table, and in the table we have a column, and sometimes we have a requirement some column is based on another column. For example, if I'm specifying like create table test 1, here it has an ID, for example, and it has a identity column, identity 1 comma 1, and the data type for this is int, and here is a name which is a varchar of 200, for example. Now based on these two columns, I want to generate a new column called as the derived column. So now I'm going to talk about the derived column here. I can say it as a code. So if I want the column which is based on the others value, so how can I do that? Just specify as, don't specify data type for this, concat ID comma name. So my requirement is to tell you that based on few columns, how you can derive the third column in a table. Now let's run this to query. Now let's run and create table in a demo database. Now we'll see the table has been created successfully. Now what will we do? We'll insert some data into the table. As you know, the ID is identity column, so we don't need to add it. And as a code is also derived column, so we don't need to pass the value for the code column. So we'll simply pass the value for the middle column, which is a name column. The moment I'll type and I'll execute this query into the test, the query will get executed and it will show me that one record has been inserted successfully. Now let's run the query and see the output. As we know, we only pass a single value, but we have 3 columns in the table. But I loaded the data only for one column. Now I'm going to run the query and I'm going to see the value for this. So you can see here that the ID has been automatically generated because we specified it as an identity column. Next, the code, and this code is a derived column, which is basically the combination of the first value and the second value. It's not looking good, so don't worry about it. Let's make it more beautiful. Let's drop this table again and let's see the drop table. Great. And let's come back and let's run the query once again. We just added the underscore in between the ID and the name. Now we'll see the more beautiful derived value. But just want to say one thing here. We only pass the value for the name, and the new derived value has been generated for the code column. Great. So we have understood the concept of now derived column. In the next video, we'll talk about lot of interesting things. We'll talk about the import and export wizard. So why it is required to know. First of all, import and export wizard, I just want to give some intro. When we have a data in a Excel file or tab file or CSV, we want to move that data from one system to one Excel file to another file, right? I mean to say into database. So you need to go with a import. But sometimes you have data in a database and you want the data into the file, so you need to go for the export wizard. So we'll talk about that import export wizard. Then we'll talk about the temporary table, as we have a permanent table. Likewise, we have a temporary table, but we want to understand and practically see the scope for those tables, and we'll talk about that in coming session in sixth session. Hope you guys understood and enjoyed our video regarding the SQL Server basics so far. You guys understood the concept of schema, then how to access a table from one database to another database. Then also you guys understood the how to write a derived column, then difference between the distinct and distinct and normal query, and also you understood the difference between the union and the union, or right. And I hope you guys are learning from these sessions. Hope you guys are learning and enjoying our series. Please don't stop. Just check out our all videos, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share our video to all platforms so that your friends, those who are in need, will definitely get it. And this is a free of cost, so don't worry about the charging of money and fees. Just share it and enjoy it. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.